But
Oh,
it's fine. It's not bad. It's just it's not like you're talking to like a professional mic, right? So
well, I never am.
sometimes I've had to do a few. I almost thought I was gonna have to iPad this one, which when I have to do that, my sound quality is a little funky anyway. I think the last one maybe Dust. I think it was Dust where I was doing an iPad and I sound kind of tinny.
People are pretty forgiving with podcasts, so
Yeah,
hopefully
because I
this is
have this mic. Sometimes I think I just crinkle it with my hand and it makes like a little staticky noise, right? But apparently no one else has noticed. So I'm like, well, I guess that's just my problem then. So it's probably
okay.
just
Well,
it's like being on vinyl, right? So that's fine. But
that's what we'll tell everybody.
yeah. But like I said, I think it's just like when you edit it, you notice it, and otherwise nobody cares.
No, not really. No, I've heard. I mean, there's podcasts that get way more plays than mine that sound far worse.
Yeah, you're just talking to something, right? But yeah. There's not too many times where I've heard. There's been a couple times where maybe like an echo, and I was like, yeah, I can't listen to this. But I mean,
Well,
not
there
my
was there
own,
was this,
but
yeah, there was one called the Movie Crypt. I swear they would just turn on their laptop and the two guys would talk, and it was just the sound of the room. You know what I mean? It was just bad.
oh, like yeah, just like no, I mean like when there's like a digital echo, so it's like rap and everything's echoing. I'm like, wow, I can't listen to that.
Oh no! Oh no! There's something wrong there.
Yeah. It's like a something wrong sort of thing. But it happens. I think I fixed my Zoom video. It updated last week, and I had to turn off the denoiser because when the denoiser's on, it just starts psychedelically flashing and it was like weird. It was like it would give you seizures. So I thought maybe I shouldn't put that to YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got a cool photo though, when I need it. So anyway, I guess you're in a car, so we should get on and do mind and matter.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, give it just give it two
But
seconds, and I'll spot the
I'm not.
break.
I'm not driving though. I thought you wouldn't want the noise of the road,
Hmm,
so I parked.
hmm. Welcome. It's Time Enough podcast where we get into episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond. Here's the echo. Some echo. That's real echo though. I just said it several times. Hi, it's Matt here. In his car, it's Andrew.
That's right. Now my first name is Andrew. My first name is not in his car,
Andrew.
But I.
Andrew
But
is
I.
your surname.
Right. Right. But I am currently in a car.
Should be on a train. That would make more sense for this one.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What?
Oh God. If that guy had to deal with Atlanta traffic,
He'd go falling down, right?
he would go full. Yes, full. I don't know. Falling down doesn't play the way it used to.
No, it doesn't. I haven't seen it since 1993. But I mean, I mean that's like kind of like isn't that like pop culture shorthand now? Just for going, we don't say going postal anymore, right? So because Uwe Boll made a
Yeah.
movie, but
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, we can't say going postal because no one. That's not a reference point anymore.
no. So I thought falling down would be the reference point now. I guess today's episode, the mind and the matter, though we do have like a dramatic cousin to whatever Michael Douglas was in that movie. I mean, this guy like equally sucks.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, Let me start off and do a bit of the trivia for this one. There's not too much on this. So the original air date was May 12th, 1961. The script is by Rod Serling, and Twilight Zone regular Buzz Kulick is back in the director's chair. Archibald Beechcroft was played by Sheldon Leonard Berman. He was a comedian who won the first Grammy given for a spoken comedy recording in 1959. He'd much later be nominated for an Emmy playing Larry David's father on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he'd appear in films such as Beware the Blob and Teen Witch in the interim. I think he had classier credits. Those are just the ones that stuck out to me. So,
Well, I've seen both of those, so
yeah.
that's all you need to know.
How is Beware the Blob? That's 72. That's in a weird space for the Blob.
Yeah, not good.
Okay. Jack Grinnage played Henry. He chased James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause and hung out with Elvis and King Creole. In the mid 70s, he had a supporting role on Kolchak the Night Stalker. You can't leave out the Kolchak trivia, can you?
No.
They remade that too, didn't they? That's an interesting one to remake.
Yeah, they did. I mean, but I think most people, if they're gonna watch Darren McGavin in anything, um they're gonna think about Christmas Story, right?
Sure, sure. I just like screaming, Kolchak. It's fun. The Night
Oh,
Stalker.
Jack,
He's
get
a
out
Night
the
Stalker.
way.
Coaches.
Oh, we're gonna get to do some rodage here.
Yeah, give me some Rod.
Yeah, we'll need a little context for that for this podcast.
Not
I am
really.
not sharing. I'm not sharing video.
Oh, you're not. That means I have to do the Rod for once,
No, I
does it?
can. No, I can see it. I'm just saying, like, I won't be giving any rod to your video watchers.
Oh, right, right, sure. Okay, they can do that on a different one. So,
Yeah, right. All right. So whenever I do the Rod Serling, I always
it,
have to dry off my teeth because, as we know, poor Rod Serling, as talented and visionary as he had no upper lip. So here we go. Uh, can I just start?
yeah,
Okay. Edit point.
maybe.
A brief if frenetic introduction to Mr. Archibald Beechcroft, a child of the 20th century, product of the population explosion, and one of the inheritors of the legacy of progress. Mr. Beechcroft again, this time Act 2 of his daily battle for survival. In just a moment, our hero will begin his personal one-man rebellion against the mechanics of his age, and to do so, he will enlist certain aids available only in the Twilight Zone.
So they're putting him in the population explosion. That doesn't seem quite right. Is that don't they say
Yeah,
isn't a boomer thing? It's like post war.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just thinking maybe like 1960, 61 is like a weird vantage point to say that because I guess maybe folks weren't like fully aware of the real population explosion yet.
Not just that, but he wouldn't be part of it. He would be reacting to it, if anything, by 61.
Yeah, he'd be screaming at those damn hippies in a few years for sure. I mean,
Oh
that's
no,
not even for
absolutely.
you can't debate me on that.
No, no. I mean, if he can't just stand a few people close to him, no, he would be what was it? Peter Boyle, that movie Joe? He'd be like Joe.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just have Joe take out all the hippies. That's right. That one
Yeah.
didn't. I did. This one definitely made me think about like modern casting. I'm wondering if you
Mhm.
had any thoughts um about who would be in these roles nowadays.
I mean, you could put Larry David as this guy.
Oh, well, he's a little too old, isn't he?
Uh for Archibald.
Oh, yeah, for Archibald.
Mm.
I feel like Larry David's in mummy mode at this point. So,
Oh, you think so? Who's
I mean,
alive?
I was
F.
thinking,
Murray Abraham?
Fred Armisen would be a good one for Beechcroft. I just kind of
Armisen.
felt like he had some of that energy to him. I don't
I've
know.
lost. Yeah, no, no, you're right, and it definitely has the nose for it.
Maybe that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe a bit of his mouth too. For Armisen, definitely looks like him. Um,
He could play equally swarmy, I think.
yeah, it's just got to be somebody who's not like playing him ironically, or reading ironically,
Yeah,
but
you just got to
rather,
play him intensely.
yeah, yeah. So,
My other thought, just while I'm spitballing that, I thought now this does break the aging a little bit, but a slightly younger Rainn Wilson could be Henry.
yeah, yeah, that'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Throw that obsessiveness out. That'd be like you have to read this book. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. So, of course, I just saw Weird where he shines as Doctor Demento. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, getting a little
Oh,
older
he
there
was. Yeah. Oh God, he was. Who else to play Doctor Demento? You know what I mean? Like, if they couldn't have got him, what would they have done? You know?
for sure. Um, so this whole episode is kind of based around like this book, right? The Mind and the
Yes.
Matter. Have you read books along these lines?
Um, I mean, I've read stuff about like anxiety, and I've read some like um, some Alan Watts and things like that. But it's more about it's less about having control over the world around you. It's more so of getting in control of yourself. You know.
Well,
So what
especially
I
someone like
it,
Alan Watts would argue it's the same thing anyway. But sorry, go ahead.
eh, okay, but what is this podcast about? I mean, I think that if I were a guy like that, I would be like, I would not assume there's something wrong with everyone else. I would assume there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously it can't be everyone. So what's the X factor here? Like, let's start with me and change my attitude. But he goes the opposite route.
Yeah, I feel like there's kind of a mid 20th century strain of this book because if you go before that, these thoughts would be in like kind of maybe dense language. So, it's kind of hard to go back and read some of that. Was it not theocracies? Not the lame either, but anyway, late 19th century mysticism is a little dense. It's a little hard to read, and if you want to go earlier in that, it's impossible to read. So we get this like Dale Carnegie sort of thing in the mid
Mm-hmm.
20th century. I feel like this is kind of where this one's hitting. Like it's not really addressing your anxiety. It's trying to give you a tool to, you know, go be an alpha male or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's gross, and it's funny. Like watching this now, I think it plays the best it's played in probably 20 years.
I mean, I guess
I mean, if we're
would this guy be an incel now? I guess he would be.
oh yeah, yeah.
Although this guy
I
is
mean,
more humorous. We have a comedian playing him, and it's fun to watch. And I feel like that's why we don't see media about that sort of thing. It gets too depressing, too intense, and uh, it can get like into really weird territory really quickly.
oh no, and plus, forget reading a book and just wanting to manipulate the world. That guy would just be murdering people. Like instead of he motions and doors open and things like that. Instead, he would just like motion and women's heads would explode if they didn't like his cat calls.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I guess 1961 is like the best vantage point to watch this sort of guy reading, Dale Carnegie knockoffs and not. Well, he wants to wipe people from existence, and then he wants to John Malkovich them, but I guess
Yeah,
he doesn't want them around for the most part.
no, that's true, and you can see where Serling came up with that. Every person who want writers need solitude. That's kind of one of the things about it is you really it's ideally you could be writing in a kind of a vacuum where there's no distractions at all. And so I, without having read up on the inspirations for it, I would just say, yeah, Rod Serling was like trying to just get some peace and quiet to do his job. And he probably had a fleeting thought of, if everybody just vanished until I was done writing this, you know what I mean?
Well, that goes back to the whole time enough it lasts as well. He just wants time to read, and it takes a nuclear apocalypse, and then he breaks his glasses. Of course, is the horrible twist. Which
True, but like, no, go ahead, go ahead.
well, I guess he's a lovable dork, where this guy is like an absolute prick. Well, he's a prick, but I mean, before that, he just seems to be like internalizing and just like grumbling at everyone. So,
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison, and that was the first thing I thought of when I started watching this was Time Enough at Last. And I was thinking like, okay, if dude hadn't have broken his glasses though, that guy probably would have been fine. He wouldn't have gotten bored like this guy does, you know, talking to himself and then seeing himself and all that stuff. I think he would have been I think he would have been content if he hadn't broke his glasses.
why is he staying at work anyway if no one's around anymore?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like
He's on the clock.
it's for a visual reference. It'd have been funny if he just went down to the porn of the theater, sat down, and this is what I want to do, and he rolls the projector of the stag films all day long, and just wipes himself completely out until sawdust is coming out his wiener. But no, I think that I think that for the show to work, to illustrate what's going on, you've got to then take him through his paces that he went through in the beginning. So there's a contrast, right? Nobody's there, nobody's there, nobody's there, and all the places where it's usually packed, right? And so at first he's digging it, but that wears off rather quickly.
Some of this is my reality now. On Tuesdays I go to work. It's they opened the school near me finally, and basically I get 2 hours of this like a week before someone else shows up. So,
Wow. What do you do during those times?
I mean, the only thing I have to do is just clean, and that doesn't take insanely long. So, yeah, but yeah, I guess I am kind of like, oh, I'm sitting at the office. I'm, looking at the schedule, that sort of thing for a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, I don't go running off. So I guess I understand why he's hanging around a little bit, especially the first day. Maybe give it a week, he'll definitely be down at the right side of the Buford Highway Twin Cinema. But
Oh my gosh, I went looking for that the last time I was in Doraville. I was in Doraville 3 weeks ago, maybe, and I was for the listeners' benefit, that was the theater that was in operation when Matt and I were children. I emphasize that because the left side was first or probably second run movies,
second run.
and then the right side, was How They Kept the Lights On, which was their adult films, and later it then became adult films left and right. It was right by a strip club and a liquor store. I mean, it was just prime location for that.
Party Central.
Exactly. So yeah, if there's suddenly no one around, imagine he'd find his way over to the toy shop, as it was, for some adult novelties.
See, sorry, I imagine him going to the strip club and there's nobody there.
By himself.
Yeah, he's just hanging out at the strip club by himself. There's nobody there.
Throwing money at the pole.
That would be in the that's yeah. That if they redid this one, they'd have to have that scene in. Except it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the extended cut of this episode. No, I mean, I think you're. I mean, I think it's a good point of discussion, especially when we're talking about season 2 of Twilight Zone. This is time and effort last. You could speculate on what would have happened, like we said, if the glasses didn't break. But here, it's pretty clear. Like as time goes on, what and it's perfect Twilight Zone about here's what you think you're going to get, and then here's what actually happens. It actually sucks to have this power or ability or item, or you know what I mean, whatever it is.
How long do you think you could when he decides to get people and have them all be himself? What how long could you deal with that? It's like living in Aphex Twin's window liquor a little bit, I guess.
You're right. That's funny. I get that reference. No, and I was looking immediately at all the masks, the rubber masks that everyone had on too. It's fairly obvious how they're like pulling this off.
That must be where I got the window liquor vibe.
Yeah. No, it was like, the special effects are always kind of limited, but it's no less freaky. The idea that all these people are. But how long could I deal with a world of Andrews?
Yeah.
I mean, I could deal with having a couple of me, multiplicity style, as long as the copies weren't completely dull. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't want that at all. I mean, I'm not comfortable around a lot of white people unless it's a family function.
What, you're comfortable with family functions?
You know what? I take that back. I'm not comfortable there either.
Yeah. Oh, once we started seeing him in drag and lots of different guises. Actually, that's when my recast changed a little bit. That's when I started thinking of Kids in the Hall, Scott Thompson in the role instead. That would be a good one. He'd hit it out of the park.
Yeah, Thompson. Yeah, just because they were so great at that, they already kind of had that in their toolkit.
It did that little ending part did have like kind of a Kids in the Hall vibe, obviously 30 years before that show, but
right, but I didn't even think of that, and that's so perfect. Absolutely. They would tend to tie up things in that way.
um okay, I got two other big observations. Well, one's small and stupid, and one's a little more deep. I'll give you the stupid one first. Were you like rocking out with the Dynamat? That was amazing. Who do we get Dynamats anymore like that?
Oh God.
With
I had to think of,
those
sorry, what?
mid-century fonts and stuff on the signs. It was fantastic.
Oh God. That was like for me, like like just like a nerdy tangent for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was recently looking up like extinct fast food places and
Hmm.
stores, and that is kind of in that same line of thinking. And of course,
Yeah.
Japan, we have lots of wild vending machines.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, from the gyoza machine, you're buying frozen gyoza, so you couldn't just like eat it at the machine. You'd have to like take it somewhere and prepare it a
Uh,
little bit.
yeah, I'd be afraid though if it was, yeah, I don't know how much I'd trust it if it came out warm, Like,
Yeah, okay. That'd be well. It cooks in the machine. I actually, at some arcades or bowling alleys, I have seen some machines in Japan that like kind of cook the food a little bit. So
if it's pre-cooked and then it just heats it up, that's cool. You know,
something like
that's
that.
like yeah, that's more like the hot dog at the gas station.
Because I saw
Although I'd much rather have the gyoza.
yeah, because we went to a ramen shop and I was like, oh, do we get the tickets here? No, this sells ramen outside of the ramen shop, but it's frozen. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it's not competition then.
No, this is for when you want ramen at a different time.
And also the deeper one, I guess we should consider. Well, I guess he didn't because he brought him back. But did Beechcroft technically commit total genocide or what?
I mean, why not just say that?
Yeah.
You know, because do there need to be bodies around for genocide to have occurred? I mean, it's not like he hops on the train and it's just piled up with bodies. Like, there's been a zombie plague or something. It's just everyone vanishes.
Is it everyone who's driving that train?
That was what I wondered. I was like, okay, so he's on the train. Things seem to go the way he wants them to, though. Because he doesn't have to put his hands on anything. So it's possible that because he wants the train to be moving, it's moving.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because he seems that he opens the office doors with his mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got
Exactly.
yeah. So his mind powers extend to telekinesis. So we got that going.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to entertain himself with that for a while before he gets bored. Come on, move some things around the office just for fun. Beer pong's a diversion. He could play beer pong with himself.
That's true. I mean,
Oh.
I guess if we really wanted to think about it, my mind's going to go to the most deviant worst place automatically. So yeah. I don't know. I'd be playing some Plastic Man with my genitals.
Okay, Plastic Man is that a game? Okay.
You
um.
remember the character Plastic Man? I'd be
Oh
like,
yeah,
hey, I
yeah,
wonder
yeah, yeah.
I wonder if I could turn this doorknob from sitting in my chair.
Dude, you remember the clone character? That has a much better name for what you're getting at. There was also
Oh,
Ralph Dingby, the elongated man.
the elongated man. That's true. Wow.
Yeah.
So perfectly named. That was exactly what I thought of the first time I heard that too.
Of course. Um,
Yeah.
something that oh here's one thing where I do sympathize. When I have lots of time, I can't get anything done. But when I have like 1 hour, I'll get like four things done, right? So
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, your kind of energy comes from the pressure. You know, uh, I am mostly a remote worker unless I'm out, covering something in the field or meeting someone in person for an interview. I'm a writer, and so yeah, a lot of times, especially during the school year, where I'm alone at the house, and so uh, my deadlines, I have deadlines, but it's bad that if I'm there to kind of police myself, I don't put any pressure on myself at all, and then I end up cranking stuff out like in an hour.
Yeah. Just somehow condensing your time like that seems to sometimes work very nicely.
Yeah, no, I'm at my best if I just get up very early and knock it out. That's the best I can do.
I don't think I talk to myself much though. I mean, we need him talking to himself a little bit, I guess, or it's not. And well, the Invaders work without her talking to herself, but
No, that's
you
true. No,
know.
that's a good example too. No, I I think that him talking to himself kind of shows that sort of narcissism that this whole thing was born from, you know?
Hmm.
Because like, what makes you think you should be the only person in the world, you know?
Right. So he has to have a conversation with himself about it. Um,
Absolutely. Like who would he choose to talk to if he had to talk to someone?
right.
Himself. Everyone else sucks.
I guess as far as the shots that stick in your head, especially ones with effects, the simple effect of cutting away, cutting back, and nobody being there is very effective and isn't even a special effect, right? Um,
True.
they don't do the mirror thing so well, though, I would say. I mean, the Marx brother, Charlie Chaplin, they already did the mirror thing like pretty perfectly. So this
Yeah, I
one
mean it
paled.
didn't look crappy though. I mean they pulled it off, you
They
know.
pulled it off. Well, I think it's because I've seen Duck Soup so many times. I'm just like,
Right, right.
they're not nailing it like they did in Duck Soup.
No, that's true. No, by the time it happened, you were pretty much, oh, right.
So anyway, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like kind of like happy and being let down by the shot, like it's not like
Oh, yeah.
it's ruining it. It's just like, look at that, didn't quite work, too bad.
No, when his other self would sort of appear in things, though, I thought it looked pretty seamless. There was one where he was sort of on a black screen, sort of. I don't think it was a monitor. I can't remember. It was a chalkboard, maybe, or something like that, or maybe it had the stocks or some kind of
Yeah,
figures on. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
black. When he appears in that, I thought it looked pretty great, and I was looking for like edges and stuff because now we're in high definition, and so some of these things tell on themselves, unfortunately. But I thought that one looked pretty good.
Oh yeah, a few of them were good. I just, yeah, when it was clearly like they're shooting the back of an extra's head and doing the
Oh,
mirror,
sure,
it's like they could have got
yeah,
their
that's
extra
Evil
wasn't
Dead,
good enough.
Evil Dead 2 style. Yeah.
Right. Um, those are all my like random observations. Did you have any others you wanted to throw on this?
Um, I think the thing I wanted to kind of sort of talk about was the fact that the telekinesis was so low key. You know, it wasn't like they really telegraphed that at all. It just was a thing like, okay, not only is everyone gone, but he also has like this other stuff too. So I think like as time went on, what would he? It seemed like the longer this thing went on, the more powerful he kind of got.
Yeah, it'd be like
You
that
know?
that first Star Trek episode with Kirk where his lieutenant buddy is becoming omnipotent and has silvery eyes. I should know the
Yeah.
dude's name, but Gary Lockwood's the actor. I can't remember the character's name off the top of my head, which I feel like
Whoa,
I should.
that was great. That was great.
It was in
Total Recall.
2001. It's in 2001. Come on, not Total Recall.
Yeah.
um,
But that was kind of the only thing. I love the Twilight Zones when not everything is explained. And that's really my favorite thing of any kind of narrative fiction is when you just kind of it's happening and you can like observe it. But some people will go like, okay, that's shitty writing because you didn't explain it. Whereas I think it's shitty when you do explain it. It didn't show him like, I wonder what else I can do with my powers. Let me get the book. You know what I mean?
well, Twilight Zone, of course, is an anthology show. None of the episodes inform other ones, but for this podcast, we are watching them sequentially. And
Yeah.
just a few weeks ago, we did get the Prime Mover where they explain the telekinesis. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
um,
if someone was watching last week's and then they watch this one, like, okay, we just saw the prime mover, right? They're in
yeah,
order.
just like, sure, why not?
Why not? We just saw that guy do it, so let's get on with it here. So I like that when they sort of they let the audience. You could tell the writer has faith in the audience's intelligence.
Right. Let's do a few questions and see how our intelligence goes with this episode. Uh, Who in this episode enters the Twilight Zone?
Oh man. See, I think your idea of who enters the Twilight Zone is often kind of different from mine because
That's
when
why
I
it's a
think of
question.
somebody, right. But I think it's because I think I pick the obvious choice too much. Because I would only say this guy because I think he's somewhere separate. I don't think he's actually affected the world. I think that he's just, kind of jumped a different one.
Well, even if he has affected the world, which I guess he hasn't, because 20,000 planes would have just crashed even in 1960. So
No, exactly. So like you could go, okay, everyone else is in the Twilight Zone and he's not.
oh, I would say for sure he's in it. My argument with everyone else would be like, did they notice not existing for a while? Although I am thinking of like your idea, like he actually is in an alternate space by himself and not in the real world. Is um,
Right.
that's not how I watched the episode, but that sounds perfectly valid. And of course, then does he disappear from the real world for a bit? So someone just watching him disappear might, also be influenced with the Twilight. So that's overthinking it. I know. I'm just yeah.
No, I don't think so because if was his last name Beecham
Yeah, Beechcroft.
Beechcroft, if Beechcroft goes into another dimension, does he make a sound?
Well, I guess the only other person that they even like telegraphed in that might notice would be Henry, who doesn't. It actually, I think Henry's trying to hook up with Beechcroft, but
I think he is too. I'm so glad that you said that because that it's that one like that last like look back at him after he gives him the book, you know? He like goes off and he does all the his usual he spills something and just screws up and everything. But then as he's kind of walking off after he gives him the book, he's like, "Yeah, a friend of mine really likes this book, and it'd be funny if he opened it up and there was just like a picture of his dick in there."
that would be the Twilight Zone. That would be a different
Right.
zone. That
Or
would
like
be
a
on the.
Tijuana Bible with an actual penis. but, but I'm sorry, that's hilarious to me right now. Uh, no, it's that. I'm sorry, it's that last look that he gives them. It's just like a slight little like, is you know, like I don't know. It's a weird knowing, kind of almost like a check. I don't know what it is, but I notice that every time I see this one.
Yeah. So okay, I wasn't just me then, because yeah, I think yeah, like you said, the spilling it on. So oh, oops, I want to talk to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, but I want to focus question two. I guess we'll just focus on Beechcroft because it doesn't make sense to focus it on anyone else. Which is,
Right.
does he deserve his trip into the Twilight Zone?
Oh man. Well, which one are we going with? Are we going with he went or everyone else went?
We're going with him as our Twilight Zone compatriot, I guess.
Okay. Well, absolutely, I think. I mean, it's like it's a, oh gosh. It's kind of the justice system of the show. You have to have, whoever did the thing has to then lay in the consequences of what they did, you know? And if he can't stand people and he's just annoyed by everyone and he's so superior, then yeah, I think so. I think he does.
Okay, I mean, I would say so
He
just because
pretty much asked for
it's a
it,
fully self it's a fully self-instigated trip into the Twilight Zone.
Mhm.
I mean, you could be like,
Absolutely.
oh, you could be like Henry gave him the book, but I mean, people have given you books before, and maybe you read them, maybe you didn't. If you did read them, you bought it or you didn't. So it's
Right.
all he has like eight decisions to make in the end, right? Before endeavoring on his trip. So you get what you deserve in that case.
Yeah, yeah. And he gives it back to him. Like, what'd you think about it? Like, eh,
I mean,
I
my
don't know.
my I was asking earlier about like what books have you read along these lines, because the more modern ones I've read have been like more along like metaphysical lines where it's like think about things this way, take a minute and think this way, focus on this way, kind of like I guess meditational things, right? So I didn't make
Yeah,
everyone disappear, but and it doesn't it's it's like make your own puzzles and solve them, as Dr. Steve Brule says, right?
right. You know,
which is,
I
by the
can't.
way, some of the most genius words ever, and from Dr. Steve Brule. So,
Yeah, I can't. I know. I mean, my therapist has recommended a couple things to me that I read, but none of it I feel was of like a sort of like motivational variety because that's not really my problem. And so, or one of the issues I have, I'm a pretty motivated person, but I can't think of anything that would be kind of meditative that
mm-hmm.
I've read because I most of the things I read are books about movies or filmmakers,
I have
biographies.
stumbled into that more and more recently.
Oh, okay, yeah, the ghastly ones, the Jim, everything Jim McDonough has written really is great because he's one of my favorite biographers. But yeah, the one about the ghastly ones, and I guess that's about Al Adamson. Maybe I can't remember who it's about. Um,
I
but
seriously thought
that
you were about to say Al Lewis. I was
no,
focusing
yeah,
on the
yeah,
monsters.
Hal Lewis. No, he didn't live that kind of a life. But no, I'm trying to remember now because
He was
I've read a
ghastly. His
few.
grandpa.
Yeah, I've read a few different ones, and I'm into a few different. Like I go through the whole filmmakers. I'm on the Ray Dennis Steckler stuff right now. But yeah, that's most of the stuff that I read. So I can't name the last time I read anything that was like supposed to be. It's decades ago.
Right. Um, let's put this one on the tripometer. I always get to ask the guest first. That's my podcast, so I get to go second. Yay.
Right. This one rates a little higher for me on the tripometer than like maybe even the average Twilight Zone for me because um it's completely becomes completely divorced from reality. So much so that like a bunch of copies of him are walking around. I mean, that's weird. That's really weird. That's entirely different from like you chasing yourself or something like that would be out of a dream. You know,
Mm,
uh, this goes into the realm of like bizarre imagery.
right. You want to stick
Yeah.
not I mean you don't have to stick a number. You can stick a sound to it, but where do
No,
you
no,
want to
no.
put
I'll
that?
I'll take a I'll take a. Oh boy, maybe a 3.5.
Okay. Okay, so not like insanely high. Okay, just curious because I'm gonna go. I was thinking 2.5, um,
Mm.
and I think what you're saying is wanting me to keep it a little bit up. With like you said, bizarre imagery. I am starting to wonder if the more comedy episodes are starting to detract from the trippiness for me. Because
Well,
you
well,
watch something
how?
like Shadow Play, which is just like, wow, my mind just got shattered, and then I watch
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
There's plenty of trippy stuff. I'm like, well, it's not really like it's not blowing my mind, man. Although it's lots of
No,
fun, it's a good episode, but it's not blowing my mind, man.
no, and that's why I put it just like a step higher than that. You know, because I think some of the stuff that you see in this one is kind of like, okay, put it this way: if you saw just a frame of all those copies of him, you'd know exactly what episode that was.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely hits that Twilight Zone thing of like you can flash an image and everyone gets it.
Right. And so I think that deserves a couple like notches up higher. But just the
The only
fact that you and I are even discussing like alternate universe, I think also warrants that a little bit.
Yeah. I guess this one wouldn't hit the merch buttons unless you were like selling people the book itself. Someone might be into that, I guess. But um, what I have, I
Yeah,
just
well, it'd be cool to have that on your shelf.
I just got a bunch of books yesterday. At work, one of my coworkers was like, "I have all these books. Does anyone want them?" And I wasn't there that day because I'm not at the main school, but they were like, "Give them to Matt." So I just got this last night. I picked it up, "Feeling the Secret" by Mitch Horowitz, about Neville Goddard stuff. So it's my coworker literally handed me a book along these lines yesterday. Thank you,
I like it
James.
though when yeah, I like it when people know you. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Um, definitely when I get left stuff, somebody left a Michael Myers Halloween action figure on my desk the other day. I was like, wow,
This
I
one
guess I'm
too. Thanks
I
again,
guess
James.
I'm
I
living
was
right.
like, why are you even giving me this? It's like this leather bound tarot set, you know?
Whoa,
I know
that's
it's
cool.
it's not the white what I can't remember the name of the most famous one. It's kind of a different one. So that's kind of cool too because I
Yeah,
actually have the Ryder Smith. I don't remember what it's called, but I have yeah, these are kind of art school ones. So that's kind of cool. So I'm
yeah.
like I don't know why it's getting rid of it, but sure, yeah, they were correct.
Oh,
Matt
he's
will take
he's
that
getting
stuff.
rid of it because you have to pass it along to someone else within 24 hours or you die.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, you can do some
So
tarot first. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say don't hang on to that too
No, you kill everyone else. You psychically genocide them.
long. Right.
All right. Let's see. I don't know what is today. Today is February. Oh, it's tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Okay, you want to give your Valentine's Day plug? Wow, that sounds bad.
What do you mean? It's just kind of shaped like a, I don't
Heart.
know. Yeah, it's heart shaped, but upside down.
Okay, right. Yeah, of course.
It's got little feet on it where you can sort of sit in your office by yourself with it for 2 hours every morning.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so, as always, I've enjoyed the discussion. My name is Andrew Shearer here in Athens, Georgia, United States. My friends and I make movies. We are called Gonzorific, Gonzorific. And you can find us on Instagram or gonzorific.com. And you can buy movies for us. Our current movie we have out that's brand new is called Jigsaw, and a few of the it's like a mixtape. So a few of the movies on there definitely would qualify as Twilight Zone like. That's one of my biggest influences is the Twilight Zone, just with
Radio.
more cleavage.
Right. And Twilight Zone, you got like 22. Yeah, it's got some cleavage.
Yeah.
As for This Is Time Enough podcast, we are that on Twitter. We are that on Facebook. If you want to support us on Patreon, keep the lights on. I've even been doing occasional chats here and there in different places. But that's Podcastio Podcastius, where we also talk about sci-fi movies on Matt Luke's Sci-Fi Sanctuary, the Occult Disney podcast, talking about the weird magic behind the mouse. We do like them. We're just talking about that. And most recently, they're starting a run of podcasts about the 60s TV series The Prisoner, very Twilight Zone like, called Imprisoned in Prison, an The Prisoner Prison Cast. So if you want to hear some weird tangents of people trying to make sense out of a show they don't understand, that's a good one to listen to.
I loved it. I loved it. You and Mark are perfect for that discussion.
Radio. Oh yeah, yeah. The first one is already out, so you heard that. Second one
Yep.
is well, it's tomorrow for you, but it's been out for a few weeks for everyone else. So
Okay.
okay. Well, Matt, it's been good talking to you today.
Yes, I'd like to thank Andrew for taking the time to participate in this discussion.
Radio. Okay, that seems like a reasonable cut spot.
Yeah.